Hello and welcome back to another movie review. As always, I'm Kelly, and I just got out of Wrath of Man. This is the newest Guy Ritchie film, and I gotta say, I am kind of conflicted on this movie. If I'm judging by what it is versus what I want it to be, I'd say that what it is a very, very intense, engaging, kind of Pulp Fiction-y action movie, though with a lot less humor. But then again, I kind of was expecting and really wanted something a little bit more in line with, like, Gentleman or Snatch. Guy Ritchie doing Guy Ritchie and making it fun and entertaining while they're doing all the dark shit. Yeah, this movie is not really fun. There are fun moments, and I can tell you the action is spectacular. But I can't honestly, in good conscience, say that this is a really fun experience. This is a rather dark tale, and it's done pretty darkly. I was never bored in the movie. I can definitely say that Jason Statham is bringing his A game here. He is basically playing the stereotypical Jason Statham role, just with less one-liners, but he's doing it very well. And by God, I'd like to see him become the next Terminator, because at the end of this movie, he goes on a killing spree. But at the same time, I can't say that I got everything out of this movie that I wanted to. And I think that maybe that's expectations versus reality. If I hadn't seen the trailer to this, I think I would have enjoyed this movie a lot more, because that trailer does spoil a lot of key plot points. And if you go into this movie without seeing the trailer, you will definitely have a better experience than I did. And again, I'm not saying that my experience was bad or that the movie itself was bad at all. Far from it. What I'm saying is that I might have hyped myself up a little bit more, expecting something that was going to be a lot more fun and enjoyable in that sense, versus this really serious tale I was given. But in order to explain, I gotta go into a little bit more detail, so from here on out, I'm going to be spoiling. If you don't want any spoilers, skip to this section for my final thoughts and general overview. For everybody else, let's go on. Now, as always, starting with the good and the positive, the acting from across the board is top-notch. This is everyone bringing their A-game. Jason Statham, Scott Eastwood, Jeffrey Donovan, who I'm really glad to see in a movie like this, because I honestly think he should be in more shit, just in general. And it's just really nice to see an actor I saw come up from TV, move on to movies and actually get a career. And I hope it succeeds for him. But not just the acting, I actually like the characters that all these guys are playing, because it feels like your pretty standard revenge heist movie setup, but with everyone's roles just reversed and shuffled around. No joke, I was actually torn on which movies and things I should put behind me, because I was really tempted to switch Cold Pursuit there with Baby Driver, because it feels like the same kind of thing where it's taking a very, very overused setup, but subverting our expectations by just having this situation play out in a way that feels natural but different. In the end, I went with Cold Pursuit because it does the same thing with the whole flashes of chapter details, But in this plot, the movie starts out pretty ambiguous to what's going on. Jason Statham gets hired by this armored truck security crew and just starts doing this job, and they get attacked. And he just turns out to be a badass and murders all these guys. Though you can definitely tell something else is going on with his character. They don't explain anything. That is until they literally flash back with one of those title sequences I mentioned and go back to the beginning and show why he's here. And the reveal there really does set up how this whole story is twisted and contorted on its head. Yes, Jason Statham is what you would normally consider to be the bad guy. He's running his own crew. They were even planning on hitting this very truck depot the same day it got hit by this other team, where Jason Statham and his son just happened to be there by chance. And of course, Jason Statham's son dies right in front of him. After he recovers, he just goes on a fucking bender and starts trying to find out who the hell murdered his kid. And no joke, this is where the movie gets kind of really fucking dark. You kind of see a little bit of the Guy Ritchie isms that you'd see in things like The Gentleman, but instead of being played up for laughs, they let the horrifying situation just speak for itself. Even the guys on Jason Statham's crew are not comfortable with what they are being asked to do. And again, normally someone like Jason Statham would be the bad guy here, but we're getting kind of a John Wickian twist on this, where He is the good guy in this situation. He's going after the people who murdered his son. Now, you wouldn't necessarily call Jason Statham the good guy, but I can definitely say that he's doing a good thing through his actions, hence why the police are pretty much just keen to let him do whatever the hell he wants. And you see the intricacies of how his group has operated without being told and barreled over with a bunch of exposition dump. You can see how these relationships formed and how they're leading to the situation that we saw in the first act of this movie, with Jason Statham getting a job at this armored truck security group. And just like with Jason Statham, we have Jeffrey Donovan, who in another movie, again, would be the good guy of the movie. He's helping his crew. He's big old high, screw corporate America type thing. But no, they actually do emphasize that they are the bad guys here, that they are not doing good things, and one of them in particular is a fucking murderer that they should have kicked off the crew and or murdered themselves a while ago. And because of the way that this is all written and woven together, it's seamless, even though it's completely subverting what you would normally see in a situation like this, especially in a movie sense. I can definitely say that it all works. This is how you subvert people's expectations. This is how you do it. And this is all backed up by some amazing godlike action. This is peak shootout awesomeness. Just in general. The choreography, you can always tell where everyone is. There's no real confusion of what's going on. And Statham is a fucking Terminator, just mowing through people with machine guns and a bunch of other shit with a goddamn 9. No joke, at one point they even do kind of a Terminator thing where like half his face seemingly is burnt off, and he's just fucking going for it. This all happens in the climax, and the climax of this movie, this last shootout, is the best of the best. Like, I think that this might be in my top 10 shootouts of all time. But that's not to say this movie is perfect. As much as I do adore a lot of it, and it is definitely not what I was expecting, but good, I can't say that I was happy with a lot of it, especially at the start of this movie. I talked about how this movie really kind of avoids the Guy Ritchie isms, with the fast talk and the jokes and things. And that is true for the most part. But at the very beginning, when Jason Statham gets hired on, and the guy who's, the mentor showing around and how things all work, Bullet, is just leading him on talking, it dives into that Guy Ritchie kind of, talking quippily, and it really doesn't work with an American accent. I really do wonder that if I replaced the guy who plays Bullet with a British actor, and he said everything that he said, no changes, no deviations, but just with a British accent, if it would sound better to my ears. Because what he's saying is funny, it's jokey, and at this point in the movie, it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be kind of uplifting and upbeat. But it doesn't really match the tone that you get for the rest of the movie. And the whole time you're going through this security place, learning everything, everyone's talking a mile a minute. You can't even pick up half of the stuff they're saying. There's some really, really fucking funny lines in here, but just the way that they're delivered doesn't feel right, and you end up missing a lot of them. It does get better as the movie goes on. Pretty much after the first shootout, where Jason Statham puts a bullet in Post Malone's head. Thank you for that. Everyone starts talking more like actual people in this situation. It's just until you get them that you just kind of feel that something's off about the way this first section of the movie goes. One more thing that bugged me throughout this whole movie, that it may not bug other people, but we got to know the crew and everyone else going on here, and they do have some very, very good characters here, and spoilers, they're all dead by the end of this movie. I feel that was a bit of a mistake. Like, I know that Jason Statham only cares about his revenge, and that's literally the wrath of man. So you see the wrath of Jason Statham and the wrath of these other guys, and even the wrath of Bullet. It's literally the wrath of man. It's a never-ending cycle of death and destruction. But it feels like a waste to just kill these people off after spending so much time building them up. I'm not saying that everyone should have lived at the end of this shootout. I mean, this was a fucking bloodbath. But I am saying that it felt a little stupid and wasteful to just put a bullet in the back of some of these people's head when they're not even looking. Yes, it's more realistic, but I'm not going to a movie for realism, am I? It falls in that trap that a lot of dark, subversive storytelling goes, where they think that more violence, more death somehow equals more real. And it just bugs. When I see it done so many times in so many different movies, in so many different series, sometimes I would have preferred if some of these people just got shot in the leg. It's the balancing act you had to do when making a film like this. You want it to be dark and depressing to the point where everyone feels dark and depressed afterwards, or do you want to leave with some ray of sunshine so that they'll, want to rewatch your movie? But even with those quips aside, I can definitely say that I had a lot of fun at this movie, and when it's good, it is goddamn good. Even if it does get a little depressing at times, and even if it wasn't the happy-go-lucky movie I was kind of hoping it was going to be. I also wish that I hadn't seen the trailer to this movie, because I feel that if you go in without the knowledge that the trailer drops, this will be a much more enjoyable film. So overall, what do I say this movie is? I'll give it a see it. This is a good movie, and you won't be disappointed by spending money on it. I highly recommend going to a theater and seeing it as soon as you can, whether or not your theaters are actually, open yet. Some aren't. And unfortunately, there is no streaming option for this one, so you're either going to have to see it at full movie price or wait a few months for it to come out on DVD. And that's it for me. Did you enjoy the video? Have you seen Wrath of Man? Tell me what you thought about it in the comments down below. Let's get some healthy discussion going. And as always, if you like what you saw, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all the stuff that helps the YouTube channels grow. I also stream on this channel every Thursday night, as well as stream on my Twitch channel whenever I have a day off from work. Links are in the description below. And that's it from me, so I guess I'll see you guys next time.